Hey guys, a year ago or 500 years ago, something like that, one of my commenters asked me my thoughts on shots where the cue ball and the object ball are close together. And I did a little video to reply to that. A lot of this video is just going to be a repeat of that. But I'm going to add a couple things that I forgot about back then. So as I had said, when the guy asked me how do I deal with balls that are close together, cue ball and the object ball close together, he didn't really define what close meant. For some people, like 3 inches is close. For other people, a millionth of an inch is close. Hell, I guess for some people this is close, although I don't think so on that case. So, what I was saying was, I'm talking about straight in shots here, okay? And this I'm talking about straight in shots where they're close, and really, the concern is usually about fouling the shot. Either fouling the shot by double hitting the cue ball, that, which is embarrassing, or sometimes being so afraid of fouling the cue ball the embarrassing way, doing something like that, fouling it that way. I'm very guilty of doing both of those things. Probably about 50-50, the odds are probably about 50-50. When the ball is an inch away, this is about an inch. I'm not nearly as paranoid when it's about this far away. I don't have very good depth perception, but it's usually good enough when the balls are separated by like an inch. If the balls are separated by a quarter inch, that's when I start doing one of the two fouls that I was talking about. When I get a shot like this, I usually try to use ghost ball. And that's probably my most common aiming method. Although I do fluctuate and shit. And one of the ways I define what is a close shot is, can I put a ghost ball in there? So there's my ghost ball. Yeah, can't fit it in there. If I got a cut on this 15, still can't fit it in there. But if I'm like that, then I'm okay. Closer than that, yeah, that's kind of close. You got to worry about it a little bit. I couldn't shoot this shot with some kind of awesome follow through or something like that, because I'm gonna foul the ball. That's just how I define it. If I'm straight in and very close, that's a little bit less than a quarter inch. Odds are very good I'm going to foul the shot, unless I can just come over to the side. Again, those two are lined up straight in. I'm going to put a right spin on this ball and hope that when I drive these two contact points together, that the 15 gets thrown down far enough to go into the pocket. Does that make any sense? Because I'm cutting it, the 15 wants to go about right here. But I'm hoping that it's going to throw down into that pocket. In right English, and it depends on how dirty the balls are and such. These balls aren't quite dirty enough. Didn't quite throw in. But I did not foul the shot. Fouling the shot is for me really embarrassing. And a lot of times I'll be doing just a million. I think I'm going to hit it, and I'm trying to jerk it back right away. At the exact millisecond that I hit the ball, I want to jerk it back. I don't think that's the right way to do it, but frankly, I don't have any better success doing it any other way. This is just I play a guy that he will, again, there's a gap. he will jack up 45 degrees and go, oh, there's no foul because I was jacked up. Yeah, there's still a foul. But there are certain people that you can't call a foul on, and this particular person is one of those people. So I just let it go. That is a shot I would never, ever in a million years shoot in competition. And if for some reason I did, I would call a foul on myself. I do that. I don't like arguments and drama and stuff like that. And if I thought there was a chance that I fouled the shot, I'm usually going to call it on myself. Unless the other guy's just a complete jerk, then maybe I wouldn't. But even then, I probably would because somebody might be watching, you know. My overwhelming preference on a shot that's this close is to try to cut it and throw it in with a little bit of inside English. Or I could foul it. See, even that, I was afraid. I was afraid of fouling the ball. Now, there's a shot called, when I made the original video, I said I should go look this up, and I haven't. It was only like a year and a half ago, so give me a break. Called a fouet or something like that. That basically, if I shoot this shot with inside English, I cannot double hit the cue ball. I cannot do it. So just shoot it, and I hope it throws in. There are people that can shoot shots like that with that inside English. They know they're not going to get a foul. It's not good. It's not possible. Apparently, it's not possible. Anyway, I don't know that shot, and it scares me to try stuff that I don't know, especially in competition. What you've just seen is pretty much the original video that I made. Is how do I deal with balls, you know, that are close? And I was talking about straight ends, but the same thing can happen on a cut. If I got to cut this one there, you know, contact point to contact point. There's no secret to it. It's just you know, just try to make the stupid ball and hope that you do, just like any other shot. Of course, that one threw, the other ones didn't throw. Most of the demonstrations that I talked about in the earlier version of this video were about an inch apart, though. And that's not what I want to talk about here. Now, going forward, I want to talk about very close. And like 2017 maybe, at Derby City, I was playing like round 4. And I think what I did, I think I banked the ball across side, and I was trying to come over here to bank this ball across side, and that didn't happen. I got like right up on it. When I say right up on it, I'm talking about a 1/4 inch. I happened to have noticed that because the table was playing so freaking fast that this bank, which is lined up straight for right here, will go. Usually it will not. But brand new fast cloth, it can very often lengthen out enough to go in. In other words, let's get back to where I'm not going to foul and shoot the shot. I think I fouled on that even though I said I wasn't going to. It can go in on nice fast cloth. This cloth is still in fairly good shape. So I knew if I hit it and didn't foul, I had a decent chance of making a shot. And as it turned out, I don't have very good depth perception, but I was really careful. I did jack up a little bit and did something like that because the table was so fast that the ball went in. Yay! I think I won that game on that shot. I think I won that match on that shot, actually. Then a couple of rounds later, I was playing Richie Richardson, and I did some kind of a breakout, straight back, trying to break out a bunch of stuff around this mess, and what I ended up with was this. Yeah, about a 1/4 inch. there were other balls on the table. I don't remember what they were, where they were, but I was like, well, what do you do now, Dave? Could have played some kind of a safety, just skim the ball and come to the rail or whatever. But I'm like, well, hell, this is lined up here, and I know because this table's nice and fast and all that. If I hit it straight and don't foul, the ball could go in. And again, no depth perception, but I got as lined up as I could, and in this case, I was concentrating on don't draw back into the pocket. I always know that double hitting the cue ball is a risk for me. But in this case, there was an extra risk, especially because I was elevated over the pocket a little bit. I could hit it perfect, but draw back into here and scratch. Now I didn't want to do that, so I just remember going, don't do it, don't scratch, don't scratch, don't scratch, don't scratch, don't scratch. That's about how I hit it. And in there on that night, about an hour and a half later, it took a long time, the ball went in the pocket. And I won that game. Richie beat me that match, but I won that game. So that was cool. I tell you what, 2 stressful situations for me. And after Derby City, I started, reading and my books and my videos and all that. There are better ways to do these kind of things that I'm talking about. Dealing with a ball that is straight in and very close to the cue ball, where they're very close together. Now on a cut, I've already talked about that. I can just go and do stuff like that, usually. One of the things that I came across, it's just kind of a silly little gaffe, is I can put the cue stick up against, and even with this edge of the cue ball, it's actually just a touch in front of it. So the tip is even with the cue ball. Then I can grip my cue ball, my stick down here tightly, and I would always keep this finger extended. And I've got a death grip on my cue right now. So then I can come up here and I can see that with my finger pressed up against the table, I'm still not touching the cue ball. Let me get these straight in again. I'm not touching the cue ball with my finger jammed straight up here. And the trick is, okay, now shoot hard. Do the same thing. Don't shift your grip and shoot hard. And I fouled on that shot. So I miscalibrated. So where I said the cue ball, the tip was not quite touching the cue ball, I needed it to be back to even just a little bit further. Still, grip. If I shoot this hard and don't hit the cue ball at all, there's no loss except my dignity, like that, right? I can move it forward and do that and not foul the shot. And I've even at times been able to draw that back, follow it forward, do something besides just shoot a simple stop shot. The problem with a shot like that is it doesn't come up super often. You have to be at a decent distance from the end of the table or the side of the table to the cue ball. If I had a shot like this inside at a 1/4 inch, I'm probably not going to come up here like this. This would be goofy looking and a little bit awkward too. So I'm probably not going to do that. So what's another solution? In the case of this 13, there is always a solution of trying to cut it with inside English and hope it throws in. Or what if that's not enough? You can't throw in. I've demonstrated these balls are pretty clean. They're not going to throw in enough to go in. So what I got thinking about was, so if you're shooting pool and you're only moving your forearm, this you have a couple feet of motion that's happening here. If you put your elbow into it, you can get a couple more feet of motion in it. If you're using just your wrist though, using nothing but your wrist, it should be nothing but my wrist should be moving in this case. And I have a hard time with this. If my forearm is not moving right now, just my wrist, then my cue stick is going forward exactly the same amount every time. And I should be able to do the same thing that I kind of did by using the table to stop my cue from going forward. That's what I'm basically doing. I'm using the edge of the table to stop my cue from going forward any further. In this case, if done correctly, I'm using the heel of my hand, this part of my hand, just by doing my wrist and stopping that cue from going forward any further. To me, this has always seemed like something that should work, but to me, I've had a really hard time with this. My forearm wants to go forward even though I don't want it to go forward, and end up double hitting the cue ball. It seems to me like I ought to be able, so I'm doing this, I'm snapping my wrist, and my stick is hitting the heel of my hand and stopping that forward motion. And I ought to be able to do it, but I don't. I do what I just did right there, which is foul the stupid cue ball. This is something that I've messed with off and on over the years, because I really do feel like it ought to work, but I've just had a hard time with it. I put my wrist all the way forward, my stick up against the heel of my hand, set my distance, come over to the cue ball, and do that and foul it again. Does that make, I mean, I don't know if you guys can see what I'm doing, and you probably watch it and see my forearm moving when I don't want it to move. But yeah, it really does seem to me like that ought to work. And the nice thing about being able to do it this way, if I can ever get to the point where I can do it this way, is that it doesn't matter where the rail of the table is. I don't have to be at some optimal distance where I can butt my hand up against the cushion. I can be whatever. In theory, I could be left-handed. If I was any good left-handed, adjust my wrist, which I'm not. See what I'm doing? That's what I do a lot. That wasn't too bad. If it would go in, that wouldn't be too bad. Now, I think I'm just now starting to ramble, which is good, because that's a good sign that it's time for me to shut up. Cue ball close to the object ball. When there's an angle, there's usually something you can do. Cut it, hope you can throw it in. You can try one of those fouet, whatever shots. But when they're straight in, you're trying to shoot something straight in. You don't want to double hit the cue ball. You don't want to tippy tap the object ball so it moves an inch and a half and stops without hitting the rail. Those are tough, and I think they're tough for just about everybody. There's a couple of solutions that I have been working on, trying to get better at, just like I try to get better at everything. I really do think that wrist thing could be a really good solution, except I haven't been able to get it to work with any kind of reliability at all. I am still better off on a shot like this, just trying to be really careful and don't hit it very hard and jerk back at the last possible second. I'm still better off. No, not like that. I didn't say I was good at it, I said I was better off. Yep, do it again. I'm better off at doing a shot like that than I am with the same shot and trying to do just my wrist. That wasn't too bad. If it goes in, whatever. Alright guys, that's it. Bye.